Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, and remarkably, it's a green week. It's been sort of a very volatile week. Last Sunday, I was at 404,000 and I dropped to 382 during the week and have somehow ended up £15,000 up on last Sunday. So, not too bad. We've had the Bitcoin halving, so yeah, that's out of the way now. And sort of historically, we have sort of pressed on for a good sort of 12 to 18 months after the halving. So not a lot of data points to go on. This is the fourth halving, and you could say the 2012 one didn't really mean a great deal. It wasn't a mature market back then, and then 2021 people also go back to, but it coincided with the COVID stimulus and all the money printing. So yeah, not really a huge amount to go on, but it certainly seems to be sort of liquidity on the up, even if stock markets are going down. Bitcoin likes liquidity, like gold. So got the presidential elections as well this year, and sort of UK elections and all sorts of elections. So you would think money printing will go up, and it should be positive. You're seeing on the CoinShares report, it was an ever so slight outflow, 126 million. We've been seeing sort of some data showing, various outflows from different funds. It's not really a huge surprise. Grayscale continuing to sell off, although there's a bit of news coming up on them. Small-ish inflows into iShares and Fidelity, but we'll come back to those because that is a little bit old. And then by coin, 110 million outflow on Bitcoin, 28 million on Ethereum. So that's continuing to see outflows. Outflow on the multi-asset one, you don't see that too often. 3.6 million outflow on Solana. Still a little bit of inflows into Litecoin, short Bitcoin as well, obviously. XRP, small inflow, and Polkadot, small inflow. And then some others, 17 million into others. It's quite sort of a large amount considering it's smaller coins than all of these, so that's interesting. And by country, again, despite having large outflows, Brazil, the little one that I sort of just keep watching, inflow of 3 million. It just seems to continue with small inflows every week, which is very odd. Whether that's, I don't know, people putting sort of pension money into a small sort of ETF that they have over there. Don't know, but they seem to be relentless. Germany, a 28 million inflow as well. But pretty much everyone else, Australia, a small inflow, but everyone else sort of seeing a little bit of outflows. US, obviously, the largest. So, yeah, looking a little bit more in detail at the US ones. You've seen pretty much a whole week of outflows. Well, yeah, a whole week of outflows. 15th to actually on the 19th, yeah, we got first positive, but you're seeing sort of small inflows into the iShares one, but you'd probably say if it continued at sort of 30 or 40 million inflow all year, that would be sort of what they were hoping for when they launched it, I would have thought, rather than they probably weren't expecting 400, 500 million every day like they were getting before. Fidelity got a couple of sort of reasonable inflows as well the last couple of days. Even ARK and some of these other ones sort of certainly on the Friday all got inflows, so that was interesting. And a very small 45 million outflow from Grayscale. So who knows? Could be a temporary. I've seen very very small 17 million inflow from Grayscale, and then it picked up again. And sort of up here as well, into sort of double figures for 3 days, and then you started getting, 200, 300. So, yeah, we'll see. But away from the US, it's looking like we now have Hong Kong. They've sort of been saying that they were looking to get on board, saying that they wanted to launch before the US ones. That didn't happen. And yeah, it looks like on Monday they gave initial approval for Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs. So they've got the jump on that. It's looking like the US will probably reject the spot Ethereum ones. So yeah, potentially Hong Kong getting a little bit of money for that. I haven't seen too much news sort of following this, reported initial approval. Um, Sort of whether they have launched or if they're still sort of in the process, a bit like the US took a little bit of time, but not too much. Yeah, Hong Kong unit of the China Asset Management said it had received approval from the city's Securities and Futures Commission. So yeah, we'll have to see how these go. I believe the sort of ETFs aren't quite as popular in Hong Kong, but people are more sort of interested in crypto than you might think. So we'll have to see if they get a lot of inflows. Obviously, it's not as big of an industry as the US, but yeah, see how they go. This was positive amidst all the negativity around Ethereum as well, launching Ops Chain Contracts Manager on Ethereum, leveraging zero knowledge proofs technology. So, solution helps private businesses efficiently manage and execute intricate business agreements while ensuring confidentiality, timeliness, and cost effectiveness. So, yeah, interesting. They're going for Ethereum as well, rather than sort of some of the smaller chains. They want the security, I guess, of Ethereum. And they're saying the big four, Deloitte, KPMG, and PricewaterhouseCoopers, have all been exploring this since at least 2018. So whether they're exploring and how much that sort of leads to is another thing. But Ernst and Young are, at least getting in. 20 October 2023, they unveiled the fourth generation of their blockchain analytics tool, and 2021, that was sort of the bull market. Everyone was, wanting to say they were working with crypto, and they announced their collaboration with Polygon. So yeah, I think this has to be good. It's sort of the biggest accounting firms in the world, traditional finance getting in, and just a bit of positive news for Ethereum, sort of kind of needed at the moment. It's rather unusual. Grayscale's move, I guess, to try and hold on to customers because they are seeing obviously outflows every day pretty much. They're launching a mini Bitcoin ETF with a 0.1% fee. So, mini in the case that their current ETF has a 1.5% fee. So, they're saying they'll contribute 10% of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust's assets into the mini trust, and you're going to sort of basically get whether they're going to take 10% of everyone's sort of holdings, so that everyone loses an even amount, and it then gets put into this new sort of mini ETF at a tenth of the fee. I presume that would have to be the way they're doing it. Otherwise, some people will get more of a benefit than others. Yeah, very interesting. So it'll be the cheapest product on the market. The Franklin Templeton one is currently the cheapest at 0.19%. They're all sort of penny pinching around, in single basis points at the moment. BlackRock's is, I believe, slightly higher than that, and they're sort of waiving fees on part of it, and yeah, very very sort of competitive. BlackRock's has grown to 17.5 billion in assets under management, and Grayscale is at 19.6. So to try and sort of hold on to some of that, they're waiving sort of a large portion of their fee on a small portion of the assets. So rather an unusual move, rather than sort of lower the fee to 1% and sort of hope not that many people leave or some less people leave. They're sort of doing this. It's not really a stock split. It's more of a sort of airdrop into a new fund that's a little bit cheaper. It's basically the same as just lowering the fee. But yeah, they're saying it's a non-taxable event as well, so nobody has to pay tax on having their assets moved into this. But very unusual way of doing it, and obviously new buyers into the mini trust, I guess, will hopefully have some outflows going in there. But I'm sure you'll just get more if people are allowed to after this launches, they can just sell the big grayscale one and move into the small grayscale one if they want to incur the tax. So it's not going to stop GBTC having outflows, I'm sure. I think people are maybe making a little bit of a big deal of this. Fees sort of spiking up post-halving. They've gone to all-time highs, surpassing over $100 for the first time ever. I think we need a difficulty adjustment from a lot of the miners that were sort of unprofitable. Well, they were profitable before the halving, so they were mining right up until the day on sort of end of April the 19th, sort of beginning of April the 20th, and then they switch off. So now the existing miners have to mine that Bitcoin, and it's sort of taken a little bit longer than it should. So people are paying an absolute fortune to get their transactions through, and fees spike. So this is sort of causing a few problems. They're saying halving. After the halving, this is creating Bitcoin dust, as they're calling it. Small account balances that are with these fees are effectively worthless because they're saying over half, 54% nearly, of all Bitcoin addresses hold less than 0.001 Bitcoin, which at the moment is sort of $65. So if the fees are $100, you effectively can't ever spend that. And obviously, if Bitcoin price rises, then potentially these fees rise as well, and you would never be able to spend it. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an issue. There were sort of people saying that you should consolidate any small addresses before the halving, and sort of combine your addresses so that you don't have this problem. Or have lots of small balances, lots of unspent transaction outputs, sort of all spread around, then, as they say, they can effectively become worthless. But I do think this is maybe a short-term thing, and sort of if we get a difficulty adjustment and more sort of, well, the current hash rate being fine for the amount of transactions going through, these fees will come down fairly shortly. I believe the next difficulty adjustment is the 24th. It was slating an increase rather than a decrease, but I think that's just because sort of the last week or two have been, normal operation as usual. Everyone sort of going full tilt mining into the halving. Whereas if people have switched off, maybe the last few days will cause a little bit of, a downturn in that difficulty adjustment, and then potentially the one in 2 weeks, I would think might bring that down a fair bit. So hopefully we'll see these fees come down a bit, but certainly in the meantime, this is really good for the miners and good for hopefully good for mining stocks. Just speaking about Ethereum usage as well earlier, it doesn't seem to be getting a lot on the base chain. The burning is sort of way under the Ethereum issued at the moment. You've had 8,139 Ethereum increase to total supply in the last 7 days, and on the 30 days it is negative. It's positive as well. 2,300 Ethereum up in the last month. So yeah, not ideal. Look on the sort of larger scale since the merge, it's sort of in one of these horizontal patterns, although you can see it does spike up at the end, so you can even see that spike on the long term. It sort of has done much larger than this before. This was sort of a huge spike, and supply went up, what is that, 40,000 Ethereum. So yeah, it's done this before and sort of had smaller spikes upwards, but yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. So people still building on Ethereum, but you've also got the layer 2s, and the layer 2s are getting more sort of traffic since the Denkun upgrade. So yeah, interesting. Never really know where Ethereum's going to be. And since the halving, the ratio, Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, is largely unchanged. It's still sort of in the low area. Obviously, sort of on the last month or two, it's been coming down since the highs of sort of 0.059 to 0.049, and on my larger sort of wedge pattern, it's still firmly sort of coming out the bottom of the wedge, but Don't know whether this will sort of bottom at some point and start going back up again, and we get sort of a traditional alt season, or will we get an alt season without Ethereum sort of dominating it? We'll have to see. Or do we not get an alt season at all and Bitcoin just does well? So, looking at coins for the week, Bitcoin is up 1%. It's mostly the altcoins that have been coming back this last week. Solana is up 5%, which is pretty good. That did take quite a drop. Ethereum 3% up. Chainlink 7.5% up. It's pretty good. Cardano 7% up. XRP 8% up. Again, don't see XRP doing that well all that often. Gala Games up 15.8%. Ethereum Internet Computer, sorry, up 18%. That's the outperformer for the week. That's sort of near sort of recent highs, as opposed to the others that are sort of struggling a little. Power Ledger 4% up. Audius just under 3%. Polygon up 4.6%. Quant Network up 8%, Basic Attention 2.1%, and VeChain up 3.5%. So everything's green. It's largely altcoins. So we'll have to see where things go after the halving. Let's hope for a prosperous sort of next year, or potentially 18 months, and see how the miners do as well. So leave your thoughts in comments below if you guys are buying anything, if you bought anything on the recent dip. I think we did go below 60,000 Bitcoin. If you were able to sort of scoop any up, or any altcoins up during that drop, they certainly dropped more. And like and subscribe. See you soon.